We were doing aldehydes and ketones, right? Now, is the screen visible or you want me to zoom out? Is the screen visible to you? Say yes or no. Okay, we will start today with reduction reactions of aldehydes and ketones. Aldehydes and ketones are reduced to hydrocarbons. The first one is Clemenson's reduction, in which an aldehyde on reduction with zinc amalgam and HCl. This is known as zinc amalgam and HCl. It forms an alkane. Now, this reduction is used for aldehydes and ketones sensitive to alkalis. That is your Clemenson's reduction. If they are sensitive to alkalis, then only this reduction reaction is used. Second is Wolff-Kishner reduction. Here, when we have aldehydes with the semi-carbazide, this compound is known as semi-carbazide. They lose water molecule and form a hydrocarbon. Okay, it first forms a hydrazone and then it forms a hydrocarbon, that is alkane. This reduction is used for aldehyde and ketones sensitive to acids. As compared to Clemenson's, this is Wolff-Kishner is used if they are sensitive to acids. Now, the difference between the two reactions is only in the reagent. The first one, the reagent uses zinc amalgam and HCl, and the second one, it is hydrazine. Now let us go on to the next one, which is oxidation reaction. Now this reaction is very very important. So first basic which I am explaining you is, when we have a primary alcohol, it is always oxidized to an aldehyde, okay, which is further oxidized to an acid with same number of carbon atoms. Same number of carbon atom, you have to keep that in mind. Now aldehyde on reduction obviously will form 1 degree alcohol, and acid on reduction is going to form aldehyde. So keeping this chart in mind, now let us see. Ketones are difficult to oxidize. Aldehydes, they can be oxidized easily. So what happens, this reaction is used to distinguish between aldehydes and ketones. If an aldehyde is oxidized to a carboxylic acid, we use strong oxidizing agents. We use very strong oxidizing agents like alkaline KMnO4 and acidified potassium dichromate. That is, you take potassium dichromate and add a little bit of sulfuric acid to it. So that is used to carry out this reaction. If we have a ketone does not get oxidized to an acid very easily. All right, it does not get oxidized. So if we use a mild oxidizing agent, only the aldehyde will get oxidized, the ketone will not get oxidized. Is this clear to you? So this reaction of oxidation is used to distinguish between aldehyde and ketone. Aldehyde, with the help of mild oxidizing agent, also can be oxidized to a carboxylic acid, whereas ketone is oxidized only under drastic conditions. Drastic condition means high temperature is required and a very very strong oxidizing agent is required. So let us see the oxidation reaction. Here we have got oxidation. Okay, aldehyde on oxidation will form carboxylic acid. Strong oxidizing agent like, we have got KMnO4 in presence of H2SO4, that is acidified, or you can just put hydrogen ions over there. Acidified KMnO4, acidified potassium dichromate at high temperature. This I had just now told you. These are both strong, very strong oxidizing agent. Ketones are oxidized under drastic conditions to give a mixture of carboxylic acids having lesser number of carbon atoms. Aldehydes, when oxidized, they are oxidized to carboxylic acids having same number of carbon atom. But here these are oxidized to carboxylic acids having lesser number of carbon atoms than the original ketone. For example, if we take acetone, This is propanone. Okay, this is oxidized with concentrated nitric acid, which is a very very strong oxidizing agent. It gives you formic acid and acetic acid. It will give you formic acid and acetic acid. It gives you combination of two acids. Okay, now in case of unsymmetrical ketone, the cleavage occurs in such a way that the keto group preferentially remains with the smaller alkyl group. Keto group means C double bond O. Now this is an unsymmetrical ketone. I have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 carbon atoms, right? Here this side it is 3 carbon atom, this side it is 1 carbon atom. If it will break like this, it can also break like this, then this ketonic group will go with this alkyl group. That is not correct. Which bond will break? This bond will break. C double bond O will always go with the smaller alkyl group having lesser number of carbon atom. So when this is cleaved by a strong oxidizing agent, we will get CH3COOH. This will be one acid formed, and CH3CH2CH2 CH3 CH2 COH, because number of carbon atoms is going to be 3. So CH3 CH2 COH and CH3 COH, two acids formed will be these. Okay, so this is for oxidation of unsymmetrical ketone. Now, as I have told you, if a ketone is oxidized, you get combination of acids. Aldehydes, you get the same number of carbon atom in the respective carboxylic acid. Now, let us go on to distinguish between aldehydes and ketones. So far, we have discussed oxidation with very very strong oxidizing agents. Now, let us discuss oxidation with mild oxidizing agents. Aldehydes will get oxidized, ketones will not get oxidized by mild oxidizing agents. Now let us see this Tollens test. Okay, first test is known as Tollens test, that is silver mirror test. It is also known as silver mirror test. Now what is Tollens test? And what is Tollens reagent? For this test we use Tollens reagent, that is ammonical silver nitrate solution. It is known as ammonical silver nitrate solution. We take silver nitrate solution which is transparent, and we keep on adding ammonium hydroxide drop by drop till a brown precipitate is obtained. And then you shake the test tube and use this complex is formed. That is silver amine complex is formed, which is soluble. This is Tollens reagent. All right, silver nitrate plus ammonium hydroxide, this gives us Tollens reagent. And an aldehyde, when treated with Tollens reagent, which acts like a mild oxidizing agent, all right, from where are these OH ions coming? Ammonium hydroxide. Ammonia is forming the complex and hydroxyl ions are providing the basic medium. So we get an acid, okay, with the same number of carbon atom. Here carbon atom, here R is retained and CHO is oxidized to COO minus. Then here silver you will get, and this will give you water and ammonia. This will break up into water and ammonia. So these product will remain the same. Okay, only number of carbon atoms you have to decide with the help of the alkyl group. This is your oxidation of an aldehyde by Tollens reagent. Ketones will not give this reaction. So if we have propanone, acetone, and you want to find out whether it is aldehyde or ketone, we will add this reagent. If the test is positive, we get what is the silver mirror. See how we actually perform the test. We take an aldehyde, add a few drops of Tollens reagent, shake it well, and then heat it in a water bath. Now, what is a water bath? We take a beaker half filled with water, and then we heat it till the bubbles they start appearing. Then we switch off the burner, and in this lukewarm solution, we leave the test tube containing aldehyde and your Tollens reagent. And after some time, what will happen? You will see that a silver layer is deposited on the sides of the test tube. Silver layer means if you keep it in sunlight, if you see the test tube in sunlight, it appears to be shiny. Okay, all right. Next reagent is Felling's test. What is Felling's test? Now filling solution A and filling solution B, you will find two solutions in the lab. Filling solution A and filling solution B. What is filling solution A? Filling solution A is nothing but it is copper sulfate dissolved in water. Filling solution A is just simply copper sulfate solution, that is copper sulfate dissolved in water, and it is light blue in color. What is filling solution B? It is alkaline sodium potassium tartarate. It is a sodium salt of tartaric acid. Okay, sodium or potassium salt of tartaric acid which is used. And what happens here? Uh, it is also known as Rocaille salt. It is also known as Rocaille salt, and it is transparent. It is a transparent solution. Now in one test tube, what you will do, you will take 1 ml of filling solution A and 1 ml of filling solution B and mix the two solution together. When we mix filling solution A and filling solution B, we get dark blue colored solution, this color solution. I mean the ink of the sketch pen here which I have used, this is the color solution which you will get. And then you take 1 ml of aldehyde and add 1 ml of your filling solution, shake it well, and then heat it in a water bath. After some time, what will happen? We see that brick red. What is brick red color? You have seen brick. If you powder brick, you will get dark brownish orange colored, compound will be there. So that is the color of precipitate what you will get at the bottom of the test tube. So this is your filling solution A plus filling solution B plus aldehyde will give you a brick red colored solution, which we do not get with ketones. All right. Now the reaction here is, we have got any aldehyde in general plus copper ions we are getting from filling solution A, that is copper sulfate solution. Okay. This is coming from filling solution B, that is your hydroxyl ions are required. This will get oxidized to a carboxylic acid with same number of carbon atoms, but an acid had a tendency to lose a proton, so it will be carboxylate ion will be formed. Copper oxide, this is your reddish brown PPT what I told you, brick red color PPT what you will get, and water will be formed. So these two products will remain the same, only this will depend upon the value of R. Okay, so in case any aldehyde is given to you to complete the reaction, you can comfortably write down, because CHO will change to CO minus and alkyl group will be retained. Okay, all right. Then this line is very very important. Benzaldehyde or aromatic aldehydes do not react with filling solution. Suppose you have to distinguish between benzaldehyde and formaldehyde, or benzaldehyde and acetaldehyde. Then what will happen? Acetaldehyde will give you Fellings test. It will also give you tolerance test, but your benzaldehyde is not going to give you Fellings test. So it will be Fellings test which will be used to distinguish between benzaldehyde and acetaldehyde. Now, oxidation of methyl ketones. Now, under oxidation, we also come under a very typical reaction and very, very important reaction, and that is oxidation of methyl ketones. Now, what are methyl ketones? Now, here we have methyl group attached to a carbonyl group. Methyl group attached to a carbonyl group. This is known as methyl ketone. So any aldehyde or any ketone in which the methyl group is attached to C double bond O will give this reaction. Okay, what is the oxidizing agent that we use? We use NaOH and halogen. NaOH and halogen like chlorine, bromine and iodine. And the general name given to this reaction is haloform reaction. It is generally known as haloform reaction. So we have taken a ketone here and NaOX. What is NaOX? Sodium hypohalide. It is sodium hypohalide. How it is formed? It is formed when we take NaOH and halogen. In halogen, chlorine, bromine or iodine. Generally we take iodine in the lab. Okay, it is readily available. So when we make NaOH react with iodine, we will get NaOI. NaOI will be formed, and that will be sodium hypoiodide. Okay, what will happen? This will be cleaved from here. This will get cleaved from here. This will change into acid, and here what will happen? We are going to get, we'll have, we have three hydrogen, all right, all of them get replaced by halogen atoms, and we get this compound CHX3. This is known as halo form, but if it is iodine, it will be CHI3, that is known as iodoform. CHI3, that is known as iodoform, right? I have written this reaction with iodine. So this is acetone with NaOH and iodine forms sodium hypohalide, that is sodium hypoiodide. We will get, it will break from here CH3COO and Na, because acid will change into sodium salt plus CHI3. This is known as iodoform. If we will use chlorine, what we will get here? If I will use chlorine, what will I get over here? CHCl3. What is CHCl3? You can unmute your mic and call out the answer. What is CHCl3? What is CHCl3? You have never heard of this? Yes, that will be known as chloroform, right? Now, what will happen if we have, which are the aldehydes and ketones which do not have, which will not give this type of reaction? Okay, which will not give this type of reaction. Let us see this. If I have an aldehyde like this, okay, they ask you in Viva all these questions. If we have something like this, okay, do we have a methyl group attached to a carbonyl group? No. This compound will not give iodoform test. It will not give iodoform test. However, if we have a compound like this, it does not matter how many alkyl groups are present or how many carbon are present. This group is present in one corner of the aldehyde. This will give iodoform test. Now, is this clear to you? So, this is going to, even ketone having this group, it can be a ketone like this, CH2, CH3. As long as it has this group present, it is going to give you iodoform test. Right? Now, how do we practically perform iodoform test? What we do is we take dilute NaOH in a test tube and add some iodine crystals to it. Iodine crystals to it and shake it well. It forms NaOI. This is dark brown in color, NaOI. Then in another test tube, we are going to take a methyl ketone, say acetone we will take. Methyl ketone I will take. I will add this compound to this. Shake it well. Shake it vigorously. Vigorously means really you have to shake the test tube upside down. Okay. You have to shake it upside down so that